Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. My name is Dr. Emily Corrieth, and I am your music director. We are delighted to welcome back from the sunny shores of Portugal our collaborative pianist, Austin Skeffington. Yay! I said at choir rehearsal on Thursday, we love when he takes his contracted vacation, and we love when he comes back to us. We also have two very special musical guests, so you will have many delights in store from Amy Self and Becky Root this morning. Yeah. And now will you please rise in body or in spirit? Our opening hymn is my all-time favorite, number 6, Just As Long As I Have Breath. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. And another welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. And I love to quote one of my favorite people, Mr. Rogers, by saying, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." My name is Chris Zanoni, and I serve on the Personnel Committee, on the Adult Religious Education Committee, and on the music team. And one thing, actually there are two things I love about this congregation, that we are actively living two elements of our mission, connecting bravely and embodying justice. Several examples just in this past week, at least for me. I still recall Reverend David's powerful and thoughtful good faith, bad faith, and no faith sermon last week, which has run through my mind all week and I've shared with family and friends. Monday evening, many of us gathered with Diane Hullett, death doula and educator, to learn about practical planning tools for the end of life as part of our adult religious exploration program. Wednesday, our Defending Democracy team hosted part 2 of the 1 Million Rising Resistance training with several community members also joining us. Yesterday afternoon, our racial justice team hosted a guest speaker and other resources on the topic of Immigration 101. Again, several community members joined us. A whole week of important and energizing topics. I love being part of a community that's dedicated and engaged in such important and meaningful work. If you're joining us online, please fill out a visitor form in the link in the description. We would love to connect with you. To give you some idea of what we're all about, let me tell you about our mission, which I touched upon briefly. We say that here we connect bravely, deepen spiritually, embody justice, and always love. What we mean is that this community is inviting you into our shared time together, but it's also inviting you into a way of life, a way of being in the world that may transform you. We want to grow as individuals and to welcome more people into this community. And we want to help you in your personal dream to make the world and your life better. The chalice is a symbol of our liberal faith. It is the warmth of compassion, the fire of justice, a lamp on the spiritual path. As we light the chalice this morning, we'll say the words of our longtime covenant, which speaks to what it is we gather to do together. To covenant is to commit that even if we fall short of our aspirations, we will not let go of them. In that spirit, gathered in person and online, will you all together speak our covenant aloud? We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
My name is Rachel Alba, and I'm the Director of Religious Education here. And for our wisdom story today, we're going to start with some questions that you can either answer inside, or if you want to, you can answer them out loud. So I want to start with what decides when you get out of bed in the morning? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Dog? Dog, cat. So we've alarm. Okay. Potty. Okay. What? I'm going to frame those as the love of your dog, the love of your cat, your love for your cat, your care for your body. So what decides what gets you out of bed when you don't have school or work or someone else waking you up or a bladder waking you up? What's really driving you to get out of bed? Coffee? Yeah, we got a lot of that at the first service too. Excitement for the day. Sunshine. What was that? Excitement for church. Thank you. You're a sweetie. What do you do? What do you love to do with your evenings? Snuggle. Read. Music. Games. Fire pit. Oh. What's your favorite way to spend a weekend, other than coming to church? Hiking, driving in the mountains. Horseback riding. Biking. With friends. Okay. Cooking. Yes. Gardening. What are you reading? Somebody said reading. What are you reading right now? Not for school, not for work. What are you reading for you right now? Demon Copperhead. That is a rough one. There were a lot of books listed. If you want to write those down, and then we can all hand them out to each other as book recommendations. What was the last thing that broke your heart, that made you cry? Leaving Canada? The fire in Ned? Oh, your dog died. A movie. Tuesdays with Maury. When were you last amazed? This morning, sunset. Looking at the stars. The fall colors. I didn't quite catch that. Northern Frog? Portland Fog. Awesome. Portland Frog. When did you last have a moment of true gratitude? Not like a thank you very much, but like an actual feeling of all I can do is feel grateful. Last night. This morning. This morning. The weather. Okay. I have a little poem for you. So consider the answers that you maybe said internally and those that we said externally as I read this. Nothing is more practical than falling in love. In an absolute, final way. What you are in love with, what seizes your imagination, will affect everything. It will decide what will get you out of bed in the morning, what you do with your weekends, how you spend your evenings, what you read, whom you know, what breaks your heart, and what amazes you with joy and gratitude. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything.
Austin and I have a new song to teach you from our brand new hymnal. So we have new songs that we're going to be teaching you all throughout the year. So we're going to sing this one lots and lots of times so you'll have time to kind of absorb it.
Well done.
Take a breath with me. Actually, can I, just by a quick show of hands, who is weary? Not just tired, but weary. Yeah. All right, that is at least a solid 50%. It's like maybe a super majority of the room is weary. All right, let's take a breath again, but take it like you actually are weary and you need a breath. Yeah. You gotta let yourself catch up with yourself a little bit. These words for reflection from the poet Rosemary Watola Tromer, the Colorado poet on the Western Slope. She writes this called Because. So I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among the nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first. And if it's insufficient to share love, I'll practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction. One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I tell myself, what's the use of trying? But today, the invitation is clear, to be ridiculously courageous in love. To open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible and opening anyway. To take love seriously. To give love wildly. To race up to the world as if I were a puppy adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance. To feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and stay open. To love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it. And will you join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation? Spirit of life and love, who we call by different names and experience in different ways. That larger love within us and between us and beyond us. Our hope and our prayer this morning is that kind of exuberant love. The kind of love that isn't cowed by the hurts that we will feel. The kind of love that isn't deceived as if it's the only thing we'll ever feel. But the kind of love that goes on anyways, exuberant puppy in love with the world. Ready to be here now, ready to meet each other now. Our hope and our prayer, our intention is to find the place within ourselves where we lock that away and to unlock that door. Maybe not even today to throw it wide open to the world, but just to crack it the tiniest bit. To feel ourselves back at home again in the world, among all its people. Be together in silence for just a moment. Weariness is adjacent to despair. And whether or not you feel that in this moment, despair is a kind of forgetting. You know what that's like, this narrowing of your field of view and focus, like blinders on a horse. You can only see what's right in front of you, only this endlessly. Hopelessness, stuckness, aloneness, and you forget everything else, the joy and wonder, the connection and sly smile, and what it feels like to get a hug when you really need a hug. You forget that those things are real. You lose your memory for them. They become non-existent, invisible. Despair is a kind of forgetting of the possibility of anything else, and I have never known how to argue or convince or persuade a person out of despair. But even so, we can remind each other of the things that we forget. We can remind each other of something that your past self knew and your future self will know again. Each week in ritual, when we place stones as tokens of our joys and our sorrows, the practice is to feel with each other. It's the opposite of apathy, the absence of emotion, the absence of pathos, the absence of grief. It's the practice of feeling with each other, feeling joy and sorrow. And we do this thing, this exercise, in a way, week after week, so that when the time comes, not if, but when the time comes, that we forget how to do that thing, how to find that place. When we forget how big the world is, we have a way to remember it again, to remember that life is always ending, yes, and life is always beginning. We're people who hold despair in one hand and joy in the other, not to cancel each other out, to do some math and find the remainder, but because both of them are real, and our work is to break our hearts open without shattering them. Among our community this week, we hold in love Dan Lamprey. He's back in Washington State. The mother of his daughter and son is having surgery tomorrow on brain tumors. Send them love and energy, all of them. And we also hold in love, Kelly Cuevas is recovering from having a pacemaker unexpectedly put in on Monday. She is doing well, and she would welcome cards, folks reaching out if you want to be in touch. There are so many more joys and sorrows that we hold. And for us gathered in person, I invite you to come forward as you feel moved, starting with the back of the room, then the sides, and then the front, and silently to take a stone and feel the weight of it, and let that stone be a token of your gratitude, your anxiety, both of them, all of them. And then place it in the sacred earth in the company of all the joys and sorrows of this community. And for the blessings and concerns we carry, we hold this space with love. And please come forward as you feel moved. The reading today is by the poet Andrea Gibson. Andrea, a local poet, a Colorado poet laureate who died almost exactly 3 months ago now. They wrote this poem in a little nook in the Boulder Library, this called Say Yes. When two violins are placed in a room, if a chord on one violin is struck, the other violin will sound the note. If this is your definition of hope, this is for you. The ones who know how powerful we are, who know we can sound the music in the people around us simply by playing our own strings. For the ones who sing life into broken wings, open their chests and offer their breath as wind on a still day when nothing seems to be moving. Spare those intent on proving God is dead. For you, when your fingers are red from clutching your heart so it will beat faster. For the time you mastered the art of giving yourself for the sake of someone else. For the ones who have felt what it is to crush the lies and lift truth so high the steeples bow to the sky. This is for you. This is also for the people who wake early to watch flowers bloom, who notice the moon at noon on a day when the world has slapped them in the face with its lack of light, for the mothers who feed their children first and thirst for nothing when they're full. This is for women and for the men who taught me that only women bleed with the moon, but there are men who cry when women bleed, men who bleed from women's wounds, and this is for that moon on the nights that she seems hung by a noose, for the people who cut her loose, and for the people still waiting for the rope to burn, about to learn that they have scissors in their hands. This is for the man who showed me the hardest thing about having nothing is having nothing to give, who said the only reason to live is to give ourselves away. So this is for the day we'll quit our jobs and work for something real. We'll feel for sunshine in the shadows, look for sun rays in the shade. This is for the people who rattled the cage that slave wage built, and for the ones who didn't know the filth until tonight, but right now are beginning songs that sound something like people turning their porch lights on and calling the homeless back home. This is for everything we own, and for the day we'll learn how much we have when we learn to give that stuff away. This is for doubt becoming faith, for falling from grace and climbing back up, for trading our silver platters for something that matters, like the gold that shines from our hands when we hold each other. This is for the grandmother who walked 1,000 miles on broken glass to find that single patch of grass to plant a family tree where the fruit would grow to laugh. For the ones who know the math of war has always been subtraction, so they live like an action of addition. For you, when you give like every star is wishing on you, and for the people still wishing on stars, this is for you too. This is for the times you went through hell so someone else wouldn't have to. For the time you taught a 14-year-old girl she was powerful. This is for the time you taught a 14-year-old boy he was beautiful. For the radical anarchist asking a Republican to dance, because what's the chance of everyone moving from right to left if the only moves they see are NBC and CBS? This is for no becoming yes, for scars becoming breath, for saying I love you to people who will never say it to us, for scraping away the rust and remembering how to shine. For the dime you gave away when you didn't have a penny, for the many beautiful things we do, for every song we've ever sung, for refusing to believe in miracles because miracles are the impossible coming true and everything is possible. This is for the possibility that guides us, and for the possibilities still waiting to sing and spread their wings inside us, because tonight Saturn is on his knees proposing with all his 10,000 rings that whatever song we've been singing, we sing even more. The world needs us right now more than it ever has before. Pull all your strings, play every cord. If you're writing letters to prisoners, start tearing down the bars. If you're handing out flashlights in the dark, start handing out stars. Never go a second hushing the percussion of your heart. Play loud. Play like you know the clouds have left too many people cold and broken, and you're their last chance for sun. Play like there is no time for hoping brighter days will come. Play like the apocalypse is only 4, 3, 2, but you have a drum in your chest that could save us. You have a song like a breath that could raise us like the sunrise into a dark sky that cries to be blue. Play like you know we won't survive if you don't, but we will if you do. Play like Saturn is on his knees, proposing with all his 10,000 rings that we give every single breath. This is for saying yes. This is for saying yes. Grieve, hope, breathe, love. This is what I rose to say 52 Sundays ago from this pulpit, just days after the election. Grieve, hope, breathe, love. Care for yourself, you are beloved. Care for each other, so is everyone else. Love mercy, do justice, walk humbly. 52 weeks later, I have no updated plan. It's just that. Our deepest values urge us on, still heedless of polls and probabilities, to make real, in fact, what the love at the core of our commitments teaches us is true. Which is to say, in one form, to connect bravely, to deepen spiritually, to embody justice, and always to love. That's still the work. That's still the thread to follow. Every so often, a newcomer will tell me that they're surprised that what we talk about here feels so political, and I don't think they mean by that just the Defending Democracy group coordinating protest, or the racial justice team bringing education about immigration, or LGBTQ connection group with the radical notion that queer people are people. Sometimes I think they're expressing surprise that a religious institution can hold deeply progressive values, but more often I think it's surprise that in this house we see our own individual spiritual health and growth as deeply intertwined with engagement in the world. This sensibility we have, so basic, it's often unstated, that our deepest values call us into a kind of living that doesn't stop at the doors or stop at the outside of our head. Joanna Macy, the Buddhist philosopher and ecologist, who died this summer, the same week as Andrea Gibson, Joanna Macy wrote, "Sometimes people tend to view the personal and the political in sequential fashion. I'll get enlightened first, and then I'll engage in social action." And folks who aren't engaged in spiritual pursuits, who aren't Buddhists, say, put it differently, I'll get my head straight first. I'll get psychoanalyzed, I'll overcome my inhibitions or neuroses, my hang-ups, and then I will wade out into the fray. Presupposing, she writes, presupposing that the world and the self are essentially separate, They imagine they can heal one before healing the other. And this stance conveys the impression that human consciousness, that our experience, inhabits some haven, some locker room, independent of the collective situation, and then trots onto the playing field when it gets geared up and ready. But she says, it's my experience that the world itself has a role to play in our liberation. Its very pressures and pains and risks can wake us up, release us from the bonds of ego, and guide us home to our vast true nature. For some of us, our love of the world is so passionate that we cannot ask it to wait until we are enlightened. This is for saying yes. Only a profound falling in love with the world can give the energy, the power, the resilience, the joy that we need to make the work of building the future, the work of our living. Anger and resentment are not enough to sustain that change. Have you ever tried to be mad at yourself enough into being a better person? I hope that's a laugh of recognition. Like, yes, it doesn't go great. It goes okay enough on the outside for a little while, but you are miserable. Have you ever tried to shame and guilt yourself into being the sort of person you want to be? I mean, you can get really good at acting right. You can get super good at masking. But it's only going to take you so far, and you're still going to be miserable on the inside. Sometimes it feels, especially in these last 52 weeks, that fear and anxiety are the things that are going to give the energy, the power to go to make change in our own lives collectively. Anxiety bounces around in the body and activates and agitates and eventually wears you out. And it's not that the pain and the anxiety and the loss that maybe you feel are unreal. The uncertainty about what sort of a world we're passing forward now is real. And you, especially if you grew up like in the 80s and 90s, the post-war myth of social progress onwards and upwards forever, the shattering of that is real. And the sinking jolt of adrenaline you feel looking at the addictive anxiety, at Facebook, at the addictive anxiety machine of social media, that jolt, that's real. And any one of those things, any one of those stimuli, right, can be the fuel, the prompt, the reflex that sends you into anger or resentment or shame or guilt or fear. But you don't automatically have to go that way. I read once that excitement and fear, the emotions, the feelings that we call excitement and fear, run on the same circuits in the brain. We just attach different meaning to them. What would it look like to have that sort of a moment of choosing? What will my response be? What if this reflex reaction isn't a reflex, but a choosing? Joanna Macy, as a Buddhist, wrote once that the Buddha encourages us to begin with our own experience, to begin with the living that we know firsthand. Come see for yourself, he says. And what we're invited first to see, she writes, is our suffering. In our collective situation today, with almost overwhelming social and environmental crises. She wrote this in 1981. Ha ha ha. Oh, you sweet summer child. Trusting our own, but if she knew it then, it's more so now. Trusting our own experience means acknowledging our deep inner responses, our anguish for the world. The pain is ours, she says. It's real. And if we're brave enough to confront it and own it, it has much to tell us. It tells us that we are alive and capable of suffering with the world, that we are by nature compassionate beings. And this capacity for suffering reveals our caring and our deep interconnection with all life forms. From that interbeing arises the power to act and to heal. It emboldens us to walk out into the world as into our own hearts. That's the only fuel I know for the journey ahead, for living, the only one that won't burn you out or wear you out or destroy you in the process. Only compassion, that gentleness, only heartbreak is strong enough. The poet and preacher Liz James writes this, and we'll end with her poetry. She says, "You are not on call for the pain of the world. I know you feel every hit of the hammer beating plowshares into swords and people into plowshares. And every time you fail to step between the blow and its target, the injustice is sewn into your bones. And so when the hammer rises, you must rise with it, raising your voice, your eyes, your awareness, your body, whatever part of you that you can give as an offering. You can't stay that way forever, sewn to this cacophony of blows. Every movement of yours is a follow until your own body is owned by the drumbeat of the raising of weapons, until your days string together in a stuttering heartbreak of rage and you can't catch your breath. But this is what you promised to those who don't get to choose whether or not to show up for the fight. You promised that you would hold nothing back. I know. Except you cannot be on call for the pain of the world. It's not work that can be done without sleep. When we said that people are too sacred to be beaten into plowshares or swords, we meant you. We need you for the fight, and we need you for all the things that are less and more than fighting. We need you to be ready to listen in the soft way earth listens to rain in the hours before dawn. We need you to be tender, to cradle precious things, to hold the smell of dew in your hair, to hum the song that flowers will rise up through the earth to hear. I need you to stay in love with the world. Amen.
Oh, let's sing that into being. Will you rise in body or in spirit, please? Sing we our joyful song of peace. For the mountains, hills, and pastures in their silent majesty. For the stars, for all the sing we our joyful song of peace. For the sun, the rain, and thunder, for the seasons' harmony, for our lives, for all creation, to our blue-green hills of earth.
This month, our offering goes to SPAN, the Safe House Progressive Alliance for Nonviolence. In Boulder County, SPAN's shelter has provided safety and support to thousands of countless individuals and families seeking a path away from violence. When a mother arrived at the shelter recently with her 2 young daughters, she was seeking refuge from an abusive partner who posed a significant danger to them. She had few resources and no safety net, but her goal was to return to her home country where her family could provide the support she needed to get started over. But the journey wasn't simple. She had to secure travel documents and navigate complex international logistics and stay safe in the process. SPAN partnered with the embassy of her home country to ensure her documents were in order and to coordinate her safe travel, something that would have been almost impossible for her to do alone. And during her time with SPAN, her daughters could play, learn, and begin to feel the safety and stability that had been missing from their lives for so long. Today, surrounded by loved ones, she has the opportunity to rebuild her life with a renewed sense of safety and hope. Stories like this are why SPAN exists. Shelter, advocacy, and partnerships make it possible for survivors to find safety and to create new paths forward. I invite you to give as generously as you can, as you are able. For those online, you can use the QR code or find the link in the video description. For those gathered here in person, you can also scan the QR code or make a donation as the ushers now pass the baskets. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community. now I can breathe. I'm just always amazed at the richness and the vastness of the musical talent in this congregation. So, wow. Before we close, I have a few invitations. Have you been part of leading a service or want to be, but weren't really sure about what that involves on a personal level? At 12:30 today, Reverend David and Dr. Emily will lead a training on presence in the pulpit for worship leaders here in the Earth Room. Next Saturday morning, there's a bulb planting workday outdoors from 9 to noon. All are welcome, even if you have never planted a bulb before or are not even sure what a bulb is exactly. Finally, a reminder that a special congregational meeting to authorize a capital campaign to expand our building will be held Sunday, November 9th, that's 4 weeks from today, right here at 12:30. That's also Music Sunday, where the combined choirs, our choir and the fellowship choir, will be singing. So it's going to be a busy, joyful musical day. Our closing words are by the poet Nikita Gill. Everything is on fire, but everyone I love is doing beautiful things and trying to make life worth living. And I know I don't have to believe in everything, but I believe in that. Will you rise in body or spirit as we close in song?
I found a beautiful. Thank you. I found a beautiful benediction in the new hymnal. Austin and I'll sing it once through for you. If you are a person who likes holding hands with others, now would be a beautiful time for that. And if you don't like that, please feel free to put your hands on your chest or just hold them in front of you so others will know that you would like to opt out of that practice. So we'll sing it once through and then give you a go. And don't worry, we'll sing it bunches of times. So if you don't get it on the first try, you'll have more chances. May you go out with your minds open. May you go out with your hearts full. May you carry the peace you feel through the spinning wheel of days. And remember that this web of love extends as far as your hand. So reach out wherever you can. Oh, reach out wherever you can. Let's give it a try. May you go out with your minds open. May you go out with your hearts full. May you carry the peace you feel through the spinning wheel of days. And remember that this web of love extends as far as your hand. So reach out wherever you can. Oh, reach out wherever you can. Our worship ends and our service begins. Go in peace.